How's everyone?
Can't see me yet.
Let me know when you're
I'm still on your page. I'm waiting for it to.
setting it up.
No, I'm on your page. Yep, waiting for the thing to go live on your page so I can share it to mine.
All righty. We should be live. Let's just double check. Do you see anything yet?
Nope. Still waiting.
Now it says we're streaming on Facebook Live. Let's just double check before we go crazy here.
I'm going to go back on your page again. Just to refresh it.
Make sure we're good.
Okay, I've refreshed.
There we are, I think. Yes, we're live. Excellent. I want to welcome everyone to Psychic Medium's live broadcast. This is the very first show. My guest today is Psychic Medium Lisa. Is it Jeswin?
It's just fine, and I still don't see it. I'm sorry. I can't share it on my page. I'm really trying to do that right at this moment.
Go on my page, check it out.
I'm on your page right now.
All right, refresh it. It's on there. It's
I've already refreshed it twice, but that's okay. I don't mind doing it again.
Phyllis says hello. David says, take a deep breath and enjoy. Deja says hello, guys. Stacy says
okay.
Hi.
You're on your page and you actually see that it's live because I don't see it at all.
It is definitely live.
No, not for me.
Let's see here.
Oh, that's okay, Lisa.
This is what we do here.
That's why it's live.
It's live, so we can see
live,
enjoy the craziness here.
Yeah.
So what we're doing, trying to do is Lisa's trying to find it on my page. Obviously, folks are finding us now, and we're going to just wait till Lisa's be able to.
And you can't link me or anything because it's not coming up on your page at all when I go to your page on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm logging in again. I got people asking me where we are on my page, and I'm trying.
You can't see me on. Let me see here. Let me edit this post, and let me see here. And this would be at Intuitive You, right?
Yep, and I'm still back on your page, and there's nothing. We are not up there at all.
And we'll publish that. Let's see, folks.
I know. See, we should have started this before. But we got fun. We were talking fun stuff. So
we had a good little behind the scenes chat about RuPaul. Let's see here. Let's see if we do a refresh. Folks are just trying to work out the details. See, try it again now and see if you can find us on my page.
All right, I'll refresh again. And we did go over this, everybody, last night. So just so you know.
We practiced.
We practiced all of this. All right, I literally went back on your page and it's not there. So I'm going to try completely going out of Facebook altogether.
And go back in.
I'm going to try. I'm really kind of frustrated about that. All right, let's see. Let's go over this way.
Let's see here.
This.
Let's see if we do a refresh. Let me see here. Okay, I'm hearing myself on my phone and muting it there.
Yeah, no.
Can you see it on yours?
Nope, not at all.
All right, folks. Shall we exit and re-enter this time? And I didn't post Intuitive You in the beginning, but you should still see it on your page, right?
I should, and I'm back on your page again. And okay, hold the thought. Here we go. Hold on to your butts. Isn't that what they said in that? the movie, they know what I'm talking about. Please no, let's see. Save video, delete,
What we're trying
embed.
to do,
Hold
folks,
on.
is
Snooze.
trying to get, so Lisa can share it on her page.
Okay.
Intuitive View.
Share, more options. Here we go. Share to a page we may have touched down. Okay, I just clicked it. And share. Oh,
Now go to your phone and see if you can find it. Let me say hello to some of the people. I see Karen. Thank you, Karen. She can hear and see us.
oh good. I'm on now. I should be.
Priscilla. Oh, I know. I've got one of my friends, Elias, is doing Psychic Medium Squares. Deja and Secular Preview. Let's see, Heather, we've got notification. We can see you. Okay, Karen says hi.
All right. I don't know.
Stacy. All right.
Okay. Well, we should be on.
And now you're on your phone. Can you see it on your phone?
I don't know if you want to ask that question or not. 'Cause you might not get a happy answer. The answer is no. I can't on the phone. So we're just gonna get rolling because that's a little annoying, isn't it?
Let's see here. All right, folks. Now that we think we've got Lisa tagged into what's going on, I want to welcome everyone to the first Psychic Mediums Live show, where today we're going to talk about the beginning of one's spiritual journey. The question is, have you ever felt different and tried to figure out what that meant or where you needed to go? And so what we're going to do is talk about our spiritual journeys and how we have gone through them, how we've developed, how we worked on our abilities. Then we're going to talk about some upcoming things and take questions and go from there. So let's go ahead and get started, folks. Lisa, tell us about your spiritual journey and how it's changed your approach to living.
Right now, we just went through a little spiritual journey where I had to calm myself down, talk myself off of the cliff. All right. And now I think we got it. So it makes me happy. Hi, everybody. You know, what I love about this and the discussions that we're having is that you guys get to hear all the different ways in which people have started on their spiritual journey and continued there. I sort of would say mine started when I was 5 years old, when I heard my first voice, and I was playing out in the backyard and I heard someone say, Lisa, and it was very gentle. And I thought, it's got to be my friends. There's got to be somebody in the playhouse. And I looked all around and I heard my name again and again, but all I knew was I felt really safe and I didn't fear anything. I mean, sure, yeah, little girl hearing voices, why not? I never really told anybody about it. But I heard that same voice again at 16 when I had a near-death experience. And I was a child that had a lot of health issues. I'm a 2-time transplant recipient, kidney and cancer survivor, and hips replaced and all kinds of parts, different kinds of parts.
Bionic woman.
I am like a bionic woman. And so there was a lot of physical trauma in my life as a child. And after one of my surgeries was when I had that near-death experience. And I remember the light, the tunnel. I remember all I cared about was getting into the light. And it was a very spiritual thing for me, even though I didn't understand what was happening at the time. All I knew was keep me in the light. I didn't want to stay in this world. It was too painful. There was too much. And when I got to the edge of the light, I remember pushing my face into the light. And I said, as I started to do that, I was held in place. I remember trying to move. And I said, please, no more needles, no more pain. Please let me stay. And I begged to stay gone. And the voice came back and said, no. And it was the same beautiful, calm voice that had said my name when I was. And then I felt the pushback and my chest collapsed and I felt my arms fly up. And I remember just getting farther and farther away from the light and it being very intensely sad because it was so beautiful in the light. And when I woke up, I was a little bit different. I would say that the volume got turned up.
And what did you do after, once you've got the kind of the notice. You were put on notice there, like something's going on. You've experienced something different. What did you do? What were your next steps once you've heard the voice and you went through that amazing experience, near-death experience?
Yeah.
What did you do next?
At 16, I was, there was still a lot of health stuff going on. So I was just trying to stay alive. And then in my early 20s was when they started talking again. And I thought, okay, what is this? What do I have? What is it? Like it's some kind of a disease or something. And read lots of books and went to seminars. And luckily I had a very, eye-opening aunt. She was fantastic. And she was, eating vegan and vegetables way before it was cool. She, I was boycotting with her for the migrant farm workers, boycotting less. I mean, she was well ahead of her time, and she was always very open to this kind of stuff. And she got permission from my parents to take me to some classes or some workshops. And I just remember sitting there in my teens and early 20s and even young, just going, what is all this? And I just had a real thirst of, I just want to keep seeing what this is and how it relates to me. So I did my first reading, and we'll wait. I think you wanted me to hold off on saying when I actually did my first reading. So I will.
Right,
So
we'll talk
a little bit of it.
All right, cool. So you actually, it kind of forced you to kind of start the search, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds really familiar to me, because I always felt when I was younger that there was more to life. And that's how I approach it. I didn't hear anyone call my name besides my mother, or my father, get in the house, or, you did something wrong. So I didn't hear the voice, and I didn't see, spirits walking around, but I always knew that there was more to life. And my spiritual journey began when I was like, okay, what is that I feel there's more to life? What is that? And so this was when I was in my 20s. And
I was going to say, yeah, how old were you when that happened?
I know, I was in my 20s. I was probably 20, 21, 22. And Shirley MacLaine came out with a book called Out on a Limb.
I read it.
that was my like, oh, she's okay. This is where it's at. And that started me on my journey. Like, okay, how do I find this? Where do I find more information? And then moved to Washington, D.C., met up with my dear friend. Her sister was going to a spiritualist church in Washington, D.C. area. And from there, I started taking classes and was studying under a really amazing psychic medium. And from there, reading lots of books. And during the spiritual path, I'm sure for you too, you're going down one path and you think, and then all of a sudden you're distracted, and you get another book, or it's another topic or a new
squirrel
way of looking at life. But it's a journey. The journey is self-development. For me, it's self-development. How to make me as self-actualized as possible. Be the best I can be, but also what other things can I add to me? So that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. It was just, I kind of intuitively knew something was there, and just couldn't, and I had to find out what that was.
Yeah, and information wasn't really as readily available as it was back then.
Back in the prehistoric days, it was like, you might get a book. You might find a place to take a class. No internet, no phone. But people have been going on spiritual journeys for, thousands of years. Yeah. And yours, that's an amazing, most people have not had those kind of near-death experiences, which made you kind of like wake up and realize there's more to life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also realized too that I say this all the time, you don't have to have some major trauma or some near-death experience to go on this type of a journey, to find out what your spiritual side is. At that time, I also realized what the difference between being religious and being spiritual was. So, because that confused me at first in my early 20s and stuff. I didn't understand that one sort of was associated with a lot more dogma and one wasn't. So that was another lesson that I learned. And that's where I was like, I fully associated myself with being a spiritual person. Even though I may believe in some of the same things that someone calls themselves religious believes in. So it is a personal thing, you guys, and you may find a particular teacher that you love, and I say, great, absorb all of that. You may find a YouTube channel or a book or something like that. That's great. Once you absorb everything they have, you might start going to, down the rest of the smorgasbord, and you should keep trying different things and find out what works for you, and how to take something and say, okay, how do I use this in my everyday life, or maybe later on down the road in my readings.
Right. Oh yeah, I'd say you can learn a little bit from so many different folks, rather than just getting stuck with just one particular person or one particular viewpoint. It's always important to try different routes. Use your intuition to go where you need to go, right?
Absolutely.
I'm just checking here on our Facebook Live.
Yeah, how we doing? How's everybody? Are we getting some comments? I'm afraid to look at mine on my phone, because I'm like, if it's not working, I don't want to get upset.
I know, it's like, let's see, live. It's about refreshing the phone, right?
Yeah, and the phone refreshes and it goes over and over.
We've got, I hate the new Facebook.
You just sounded like the old man. I don't know, damn kids.
That new Facebook Live. Another friend of mine hates it as well, because they keep changing it. Let me just see how many.
Oh, good. Okay, so it is up on.
It's up. I see it on.
It's up. We're good.
So tell me about how you develop, because the spiritual journey, you don't have to, develop psychic and mediumship skills. They're just tools upon, which you acquire in the spiritual journey. How did you acquire yours? How did you develop yours?
I think the acquiring of it even goes back to, also at age 5 was the first time that a spirit came to me and told me his name and said that he was my guide. I was, and I would feel like this rolling in my arms, like a bird taking flight. And I've always associated that feeling with my guide. So I just thought I was meeting a new friend. I didn't associate it with a spiritual anything. I was like, all right, so I got a cool friend named Arrow, and this other voice over here said my name. Okay. And the most of that time, though, as I was growing up, I was focusing on staying alive, and also knowing I always had a deep sense that I would always be okay. And I was at death's door more than once, but every single time I always felt okay. So I figured that the person that talked to me and all that, it must have a purpose behind it. So after the near-death experience and in the early 20s, when I started reading books and going to different places, honestly, this was not a quest thing. I didn't go, yay, I want to grow up and be a psychic medium. I literally just said, well, this is kind of cool. I'm going to look into it. I had a whole career starting out that I was in radio. And so all this other stuff to me was like a cool side thing that I wanted to explore. It was magical and it was different. And that's all I thought I was doing with it. Reading about it, playing with cards every now and again. I didn't feel like this was going to grow into something until the day we were out at a video shoot, and I was standing across the table from a gentleman, and I heard someone say, tell him this is Brenda, tell him I say hi and that I'm okay. And I want to explain to everybody, when I say hear, I'm not talking about an audible sound. It's kind of like when you hear the radio in the car and you get out of the car, how the radio's still playing in your head, like that. And I looked across the table and I thought, I am not going to tell this stranger anything. And I grabbed my food and I ran as far away as I could to a table. There was like all these tables. I'm way over in the corner. You can probably guess where that gentleman decided to eat. Yep. Same table right across from me.
Oh, even better.
Right across from me. And I am petrified and I'm trying to eat and she's still talking. And I look over and I notice he has a book there. And it's the Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. And I thought, well, maybe he won't think I'm so weird. Have you ever read that book? James Redfield's Celestine Prophecy, everybody. There you go. It's a good book.
I may have been in the 80s and I forgot.
Well, it was a book that I thought, okay, maybe he's a little bit open to it. So I just calmly looked across and I said, excuse me. He said, yeah. I said, Brenda says hi and that she's fine. And then I just went back to eating. He goes, what did you say? I go, nothing, nothing. I don't know what I'm doing. And I grabbed my plate to get up and he grabbed my hand. He says, no, you do. That's my sister. She passed away. What is she saying? And I said, sir, I really don't know what I'm doing. And he goes, yes, you do. And it was this moment where I just allowed it to happen. It scared the crap out of me, but I allowed it to happen.
Sure.
And I realized that the universe, God may have another plan for me having to do with this spiritual journey.
And where did you get your training? How did you go? Because, you know, people have abilities, some have more than others, but you really have to do the training. You really have to work on it to develop it and to understand what's the proper way of doing things and such. Where did you get your training? How did you proceed?
This is where you and I might disagree, Kevin.
Oh, you just jumped right into it, right?
Yep. Yep. Because a lot of this I learned in very quiet, solitary nights, in pain in my bed with no one else around, and me talking to my guide, or me praying and thoughts just coming to me. Books helped. Okay, there were training that came in certain books. That's why I do believe it's important to go to classes and stuff like that, but you have to spend a lot of time with yourself and understanding what works best for you. So Kevin and I agree on that, but I don't agree that you have to get training. If you feel called to get training, that's great. Now, let's say somebody says, okay, I don't feel called to do training, but I want to do readings. Check your ego. Just check in with your ego and find out, oh, am I just feeding my ego because I want to hurry up and just get to the cool reading part? Okay. And we all in this industry, you always have to check your ego, because trust me, nothing feels better than a hit. It's like the perfect golf swing, or it's whatever, eating the last French fry, whatever you want to call it. It's right. That awesome moment where it breaks that fourth wall. If you're in theater, you know what that is, where you suddenly are there, spirit and on this earth at the same time, and it feels amazing. So I do believe training can help. I don't know if it's always necessary in some instances.
Right. Like,
okay.
I mean, I felt that the training I've gotten helps with different techniques and different ways of doing things and different experiences and talking to professionals. And they kind of give you it's like having a great mentor, from these people who've been doing it for 20, 30 years. Rather than me trying to reinvent the wheel, I kind of like to learn from others. Like, oh, okay, I mean, you have your own skills, but it's nice to kind of fine tune them with a good coach. That's the way I look at it.
Well, let me ask you something, Kevin. So can you think of something that you may have gleaned from somebody that you just tweaked a little bit and made it your own so that it fit how you do readings?
Right. The evidential mediumship. Mediumship, it's one thing to say, I feel like I've got, I get a name or something, and they have a message. The evidential mediumship training that you and I were in Maine with Janet O'Havoc and John Holland, who is they're both famous mediums. It's just a different approach. It's kind of a more methodical approach, and they both had different ways of doing it. I just like the fact that, okay, what's the structure of it? I need structure. So I like to have a little bit more structure with it because,
and I don't.
I'm German. You don't. And which is, as long as you know yourself, it's like, I like to be able to learn from those who've already done it and not have to like reinvent the wheel. And I liked a little bit of their structure. And then I went to England to get a different perspective on it. And I enjoyed that. And I was already doing it, but I wanted to do it even better. And so they kind of helped me get there with some different ways of looking at it and different techniques. I mean, again, this is part of the spiritual journey. We all do it differently.
Yeah, we all do it differently. And I learned a very big lesson, even though I've been doing readings for 30 years. When I went to this training that Kevin was talking about in Maine, it was probably one of the most interesting experiences for me, because it helped me in a different way. When I tried to do things the way I was instructed by these fabulous mediums, by the way, I in no way, shape, or form am taking away how good they are at their craft.
They're good.
When I tried to do things the way they did it, everything shut off. It was as if nothing was on, nothing was working. And one of the last days we were there, I got paired with someone who said, just do you. Don't try and do things the way they want you to do them. And as soon as I did that, things flowed. So that was a very expensive lesson, but one that I'm glad I got, because I got some great friends out of going, and absolutely I loved John Holland's book, and I loved his training on Hay House. So, you know, there are things that you can take from someone, and maybe you don't vibe with them on their book, but you liked them in person, or you know, so there, you have to sort of see what fits you. Okay. It doesn't mean their way of doing things is wrong and mine is right. It just means it's different. That's all.
I started with psychic development.
Okay.
Back in the day, learning how to do psychometry, how to read objects, and then doing, you know, people, connecting with their energy. And those are with, you know, classrooms at the classes in the spiritualist church that I went to here in Washington, D.C. area. Then, you know, you start developing, you start working the muscle, and you start practicing, because, you know, it's one thing, you know, you have to work with other people, because this is a healing ministry, the psychic mediumship work. And this is really helping others, helping them heal. And we're healing by going through the journey as well, as being ministers of you know, healing. It's amazing. And I just started developing, and then it got a little too powerful for me. And, you know, some 20-some-year-old, I was like, I'm starting to get a little too much information. This is kind of freaking me out. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to turn off for a while. And I turned it off for a while to kind of grow up. And then once I grew up and did all these wild and crazy things in my life, have come back to it. It's like riding a bike. Oh, that's right, I can do this.
Yeah, like that feels familiar. Okay.
It feels familiar. And that's what I did. I took some time off and kind of lived, and then came back to it with a bit more maturity. But I did start with you know, some psychic development classes back in the day. And then
one of the big game changers was I went to a quick workshop, and I'm not quite sure of her name, but it was the very first time I saw table tipping, because I am a reader that uses table tipping. And table tipping, to me, the easiest way to explain it is a pendulum, but it's a table. So, you know, the same concepts in pendulum, which way's yes, which way's no, that type of stuff. The table, when I was watching this person use it, she sat side by side. So here, table, client. And I thought that wasn't very connected. So after I saw her do it at my house, this is where I did things my way. I put the table in between here, and I sit across from the client. Okay. All you do is put your fingertip right on the edge of the table. Spirit will enter into the table, move it back and forth for yes, stop for no. And because I know my table and the signs and signals, they also do a circle. They do this way. There's different things, but I also have boundaries. No levitation. Those are the rules in my house. Not? No, you leave one leg on the ground at all times. I don't want to freak out my clients.
So it actually moves, right? It actually.
Oh yes, it moves. It moves back and forth, and sometimes it'll move tentative. Sometimes it'll lean. Like when it does a lean, Spirit let me know that that's a hug. So when it leans towards someone and holds, it's a hug. And so it was just when I saw that, something clicked. Like, that is cool. So I then took that, made it my own, and I several different tools when I'm doing a reading, and that's one of them. And it's so that people can actually feel the energy, not only feel it, but they can see it. They can see Spirit moving the table. And so that's why I kind of, readings with me are a very immersive experience. And yes, the table works if it's a Zoom or a FaceTime or a phone reading. It does. it'll work if it's just my one little finger standing on this with the table. So that was huge when I went to a class. So you never know what course, if you feel pulled to do it, what little thing you might learn and then go, oh, I want to practice that some more.
go to. I like that's part of the journey. It's like what flash of light or what intuitive path pops up, and you're like, oh, okay, go for it,
Yeah,
folks. That's
I
part of the
like that.
journey.
Yeah,
I
it
really,
is.
I really kind of encourage people just to kind of, once you start, go for it and just let your
Mhm.
intuition guide you. And the key is what's interesting, what's not. But yeah, table tipping is interesting. It's a tool you use in your psychic and mediumship work, right?
Yep, yep, I sure do.
So tell us what you do professionally. What kind of services do you provide as a psychic and medium?
It's very strange because even from the very first time I did a reading, I just called it a reading. I didn't separate psychic and mediumship. I was here to be of service to the client. So I do an hour-long reading, and in that time, I use everything from tarot cards to table tipping to oracle cards, to rune stones, just to see what message will come through. And I usually like to use 3 different forms of divination to see the repetitive pattern for the client.
Right. Got
You
it.
know, you can tell them one thing one time, they're like, and then they see it in 3 different areas, and they go,
Right.
yeah, I guess I should probably focus on this.
Right. It
Yeah.
confirms, it confirms
Yep.
the other ones.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how I do my reading. How do you do yours?
I do mine. I either provide 30 or 60-minute
Okay.
sessions, either psychic or mediumship. And the difference between psychic and mediumship, folks, is psychic is we're connecting with your energy and being able to connect with your past, present, and future, where you're headed right now. And of course, with the future, this is where you're headed right now. Doesn't mean that, you can't change that course. So right now, this is where you're headed. If you like it, great. If not, change the course. Um, and for mediumship, I'm connecting with their past loved ones. So I do either or, and sometimes I'll do a blended, and I'll start with mediumship if someone wants a little bit of both. I start with mediumship. I find that's best for me. And then I
Mhm.
go into psychic reading. So I do 30 or 60-minute sessions. And the other thing I offer is I teach students, developing students, how
Mhm.
I call it basically like,
Me
beginner
too.
elementary
Yeah.
school to develop, to learn how to get a good foundation, how to develop that way. It's one-on-one coaching, which I wish I had back in the day, um,
Mhm.
because I, was getting a little too, things are starting to really get really weird. And if I had someone who was a good coach to tell me, okay, don't worry, this is normal, blah, 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 blah. This is, if you want to turn it off, this is how you
Mhm.
do it. And rather than being so scared, they're like, oh, this is getting a little too wild and crazy, I'm just going to
Mhm.
stop for a while. So I wish I had a coach. So I'm doing one-on-one coaching, which is,
Mhm.
one-on-one, an hour, once a month, once every other month, whatever the person's, because it's their journey. That's
Yeah.
what I do. I say, let's go at your journey. I'm going to be your coach, and I'm going to give you the great foundation and help you develop. And we do practices and help develop their psychic
Mhm.
or mediumship, depending on what their goals are. So I love to teach. I really love to teach.
It's a great thing. The very first time I did workshops, I'm someone who will allow people to do things that maybe other teachers think is too advanced, because I don't believe that. I believe that everybody has the ability to do some of these things
I
if
do too.
if put within the right supportive environment.
Hmm.
They can push themselves a little, like you said, they can use that muscle, and usually they're not usually, always, they're pleasantly surprised, whether it's doing psychometry or just sitting with someone. There's so much that is available to you that you already have in you. Like, anybody who's been to see me knows one of the last things I say to someone is, my fondest wish is that you never need me again. Because, not that I don't want to see you, but because I want you to take some of these skills, because I also teach them some fun games and stuff like that to play when they come for the reading, to play with their people who came to see them.
Hmm.
And hope that they go off and practice these things. I've also been really good at helping people to connect with their spirit guides or guardians. And I have met a handful of children that have actually spoken to us before the person was actually pregnant.
Mm,
That's always been an interesting thing. And when you get to meet the little,
that is,
it's so fun. And the mom goes, she's just like she said she was when we were here, last year or whatever it was. I go, well, I warned you.
yeah.
I go, this little sweet little soul was like here now. So those have been some of the more interesting things that I've done during a reading, or that come up during the reading
Mhm.
as well.
I've gotten all sorts of unusual things that pop up in my readings. Let's see if I can find. Um, yeah, it's like I've gotten things, like one time it was a jumping energy and I couldn't quite figure out. I like to have, being organized in German, very much like Janet. Like I want them to come in certain areas. That would mean this is a father. He's going to come over here on this father's side, mother's side, this, that, and the other. And this one came right forward. And I was like, what is this jumping male energy? I thought it was some, young boy jumping, when it turned out to be that person's dog that recently passed. And I'm not used to picking up on, I haven't worked with, animals. I didn't really grow up with too many dogs at all. So I couldn't really describe a breed, but something like that would pop up. The really weird things happen when you're doing readings. And it's just like, wow,
There's beautiful, beautiful things occur. And one of the things that's important too with the spiritual journey, I talked before about spending alone. Some of you might take that as like meditation, and it can be meditation, but even just lying on your bed with your hands up like this and scanning your entire body just to see where you feel things. Okay. I know that goes with one of the clairs, but just understanding your body, understanding what energy feels like, doing the whole energy ball thing where you go like this and you feel, and you can feel it moving in and out, and having a sense of joy and play about this journey is going to make it that much better for you. If you go into it like, oh, I got to do this, and why am I not better? And you're going to like cut stuff off. You gotta play a little. It's not always going to be great and 100%.
How have these abilities helped you in your life?
Oh, I can tell you one exactly. Because I knew what my guide's signal was to me. After one of my surgeries, I woke up on a respirator, and I was paralyzed. And I remember the nurse picking up my hand and saying, "Honey, squeeze my hand." And I looked and nothing was happening, and I was terrified. And right at that moment, I felt my arms roll. And then I heard Arrow say, "Go to sleep. When you wake up, it'll be okay." And I literally passed out again. And when I woke up again, she went like this, and I almost broke her fingers. So it was knowing that feeling was my guide. I then exhaled. You're paralyzed and you're on a respirator. It's a little bit daunting, but I trust my connection with him and what he means to me. So that was a big one. And the other one, just really briefly, I was able to find my sister's lost dog, and that was just such a joyous thing. My sister's black lab got lost or wandered out at dusk, and her lab is blind and partially deaf, and the collar had come off. Now you can imagine a black lab at dusk, blind, and I was driving somewhere else. My sister had gone home to see if she could find the dog, and all of a sudden, clearly I heard, "You will find her, go." And I turned my car around, and they said, "Please listen to these instructions very carefully. Pull up into the driveway, get out, go to the bathroom." I'm like, "I don't have to go to the bathroom." And they're like, "Go to the bathroom." So I did. They said, "Get back in the car, pull out, look for a sign, street name that is a female's name. Back up, turn left, look up." I saw Faith. They said, "Turn, look out the window." There was a woman just walking out of her house. I said, "Have you seen a black lab?" She said, "She's in my backyard." So had I not done exactly what they had expressed, I would have missed the woman getting into the car to go buy more dog food.
Wow. And
yes.
did you hear it from a clairsentience? You felt it or sensed it, or did you hear
Clairaudient.
So clairaudient. So you got
Yeah.
this information, like you were getting it in the audient.
And it was
brain.
like,
okay,
turn left.
Subjective clairaudience is what we call it.
Yeah, it
because
was,
you're hearing it in your mind. Okay, great.
Yeah, it wasn't amazing. An actual audible sound. Mm-hmm. It was the way my clairaudience always has been, which is inside. But
inside, right?
Those are the two of the lovely ways that studying all this and getting to know myself and the abilities has helped not only me but other people as well.
Right. there's so many little things that I've experienced, but I just overall, it's just this healing, helping other people heal either through messages from their past loved ones. It's amazing when I get people coming forward with an apology, for the way they were, they had treated so and so, or they're acknowledging, who they were and how not very nice they were to this person. It was amazing. Where someone to finally provide an apology. And I see that many, many times where people just want to come back and say, I'm so sorry that I wasn't the mother or the father that I really, that I could have been, or that you really needed. So an apology goes a really long way. And I like being able to help people with the messages that their loved ones are providing.
Can I ask you a question? If someone's listening right now and they are just curious, like maybe they haven't had an event happen, or maybe they don't know, they just, they thought it was kind of cool, so they're trying to look into it. What would you say to someone listening like that?
If they, that's a good question, because I was distracted while you're asking that question.
That's okay. That's all right. It was that good that you were distracted.
I was like just trying to work the technical here, and then I was like, okay, oh shit, she's asking me a question.
Buddy, I was in morning radio. I did interviews. Now
I know. Ask me again. Ask me again.
Because some people are like, all right, well, I didn't have a near-death experience like Lisa. I didn't have a knowing like Kevin had, where he just felt different. I just think it's so unique and wonderful, and I want to study it.
Right. I mean, that is, that's the key right there. You have to have a desire, and whichever the way that desire has manifested, whether it's through, near-death experience or an intuitive feeling like I had, or you're just interested, they're all valid. Those are all great starting points for starting a spiritual journey. And the spiritual journey, I feel, is like how to be the best you, how to kind of like be able to look at the world and to experience the world a little differently than what we all, have been experiencing. It's kind of like adding things to life and enriching life and enriching our life experience.
Well, and you guys, not everybody has to end up doing readings for people.
No,
you don't have to.
Those are just tools upon the journey, and which we picked up and we, worked on and developed but it's, you can go along and not have to do readings at all, but you are developing your intuition, for example. Learn how you're gathering information, learn to appeal to spirit guides. And I always say, they're there, ask them, put them to work, put your spirit guides to work, ask them to help you. Those kind of things. And if you don't hear them, that's fine. I don't hear my spirit guides. I have a sense and I feel them because I'm more clairsentient than the audient or clairvoyant. I can feel and sense. That's where I gather my information, my number one, which is an amazing. I haven't, I'll see in my mind clairvoyance, but a subjective clairvoyance, I'll see the picture or I'll hear it in my head, and that's that subjective clairaudience. But the clairsentience is is my big number one, feeling it. But it's all about being, the better you, and being interested in something in life rather than, the news and the craziness going on.
Yeah.
So let's see, what do you have coming up for you? What's coming up for you that people can go to your page or go to your website and see what's coming up for you?
What's coming up for me is there's more readings.
That's right. You like doing readings.
I do. And I, like a lot of other people, lost my job during this pandemic. But that was 100% okay, because Spirit's been trying to get me to do this for 20 years at least, even though I've been doing readings for 30. For at least 20 of those years, they've been going, yeah, why do you keep getting another job? And so they're like, hi, Q pandemic, Q, job gone. Are you going to listen now? So I went,
the pandemic to get you going.
I know. I was like, wow, I really did dig my little heels into the ground, didn't I? And So I've been sort of picking this all up and going, well, all right, here we go. So I've opened up a lot of spaces. I am looking into potentially doing some of my workshops virtually, but I'm a more in-person type of person. So I might wait until I can fully do that, but I would love to be able to do a reading for you. And like I said, if you're out of state, it's 100% okay. We can still have a fun time and everything will work if we can do Zoom or FaceTime. I really enjoy those the most. So that's what's coming up for this girl. What about you?
I have got a couple things on my Facebook page, Kevin Paul Psychic Media. I'm doing a virtual house party.
Hey.
A virtual house party, which I will invite. It'll be probably, I think 5 people will come into a Zoom call, and I will do mediumship readings for, instead of going into people's living rooms back, before the pandemic, you would go into their house. I'm going to do it via Zoom, and do it so that I'm seeing people and connecting with them through Zoom. I'm going to pop that up. I'm going to do a paranormal Q&A because I enjoy the world of the paranormal. And I've done investigations myself and written about them and done videos and all sorts of things. So I'm going to do a paranormal Q&A. Bring your paranormal questions to me. And then I'm going to do the Dead Files TV show discussion. A lot of folks from my page love the Dead Files. So I'm going to talk about the Dead Files and the TV show. I've interviewed some folks that have been on that show, which I think is a fine show. So I'm going to do a Facebook Live for that.
Kevin, I'd love to go ghost busting with you.
I'm going to be fun. Oh my God. It's tough to find places. And I do have, really, whenever they pop up, I'll take them. I mean, I was in Hanoi Hilton in Vietnam and did an opening there. I did an investigation there. I went to Cambodia and did an opening at, one of the ancient sites there. So I just kind of like go and just document it because, the energy, the residual energy, the reactive energy, whatever it is, I try to like get some information and try to make it,
a lot of places here in Michigan, buddy. You got to come see us.
And I, of course, do my readings, over the phone or over the phone in live if you can, make it. I'm in Washington, D.C. and you're in what, Detroit?
I'm in Detroit, yeah, outside of Detroit in Royal Oak.
So those are the things that are coming up for me. So let's just see who's asked any questions out there.
Go ahead and look because I'm afraid to look at my phone that I'm going to hear myself again. So you go ahead and look at whatever question. Right. What do you see?
Let's see here. Vanessa says, so awesome. You're the best, Lisa.
Yay, team.
Karen says, yes, Karen says, yes, Kevin had me in tears. I guess I've done a reading for Karen. Nice. Maria, because you want to paint them back to life. It really is important to bring that reunion. Maria, I'm loving these stories of your life, Lisa. Phyllis says, I just started studying with Janet Havoc.
Nice.
Good one. Deja says, yes, I'm different. Lynn says, I agree. No news. Nicole, loved my reading with Lisa. Nicole Latimer.
Nice, Nicole.
Lynn says, Lisa, where are you at? Lisa, you are in what city?
What?
Where are you at? Says
right
Lynn.
Now I'm in Royal Oak, Michigan.
Royal Oak, which is near Detroit, right?
Yes, it is about 20 minutes outside of Detroit.
Digit Harper says, house party? Let's see.
See, everybody wants to do your house party.
I know. That's going to be fun. I've never done it, so that's why I'm going to do it. Let's see if I can get some more comments here. I know there's like tons more comments.
I know. And, maybe Kevin and I at another time we'll get together and we'll actually do readings at that time or something.
Right. We can certainly do that. Let me just go to
like the way I invited myself back on your show, Kevin.
Of course. You were my first one, so, you're special.
Nice.
All right, let me see here. Where, Facebook, you got to love it and you got to hate it.
I know. It's very helpful. And I can look on my phone again, but I think it's going to talk back to me.
Okay, let me see here. You just turned the volume down. We have 100 comments, so I'm going to see if I can.
Oh, buddy, read them. Go.
I can't get to them, though, on this
We got to get back. We're like a comedy duo. We have to come back, you know, at another time. Where did my phone go? I'm literally old lady lost her phone. Okay.
All right, let's see if we can see there's 98 comments. And of course, Facebook says, no, I'm not going to
You
give
can't
them
look
to
at
you.
any of them.
You
And
can only see 4 of them. Claudette says hello. Laura says, I had asked, what's the strangest experience you've had that sticks with you? What's the strangest experience you've had that sticks with you? Laura wants to know. Lisa?
Oh, yeah. Well,
question.
That's an excellent question. Well, one is that I live in a house that was built in 1923, and I found out I was only the 4th owner since 1923. And the way I found that out was there was a point in my life where I was afraid I was going to lose my home. And so I thought, wow, what if I could contact the person who built it? Wouldn't that be amazing? I could tell them how much I loved it. Yeah, like that's going to save me. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't contact anybody, but I put it out there. And so the next day I was out on my front porch and 2 cars pull up, couple gets out of one, a lady gets out of another. And I'm thinking, I don't have any readings. Who are these people? And she says, hi, honey, we're in from Pennsylvania. Our grandfather built this house. And I freaked. And she ended up saying they were in town for a reunion, that her grandfather built this house. Then the parents lived in it and raised all 4 of those girls. And then they sold it to the lady that had before me. And as if that wasn't weird enough, they were in my home. Yes, I let complete strangers wander through my home, whatever. And she said, and there's nothing downstairs that suggests what I do. And she said, honey, are there ghosts in this house? And I looked at her and I said, why, yes, there is. I said, Elizabeth's very vocal. And she slapped her sister and she goes, I told you, Aunt Elizabeth always loved this house. She never wanted to leave. And so as they were walking to the door, I never said anything about being fearful of losing my home. She grabbed my hand and she said, don't worry, honey, you'll have this house as long as you need it. Now, you could have knocked me over with a feather. And now none of my finances had changed, but something within me, it was almost like I could feel the owner of the house saying, you love this house that much, it's okay. And from that point on, I never worried about losing my house again. So that's one of the weirdest things that's ever happened that is in the spiritual, and there's lots of them.
Yeah, I mean, I used my ability to, and part of this, you know, being the best of who you can be through this spiritual journey is creating, manifesting what you want in life. And one of my exciting thing was that I started this dance company back in the day just for fun. And then I used my ability to manifest and to create to build it up to a point where, you know, it was so popular. We were on America's Got Talent. We toured the world. And it was all because of my ability to, you know, to create, or, you know, with my mind also to create, right, but also to have a good product. It's always important to have a good product, and then use your skills to kind of propel it. So that was one of my abilities. I'm really good at, you know, bringing things into my life, teaching folks how to manifest. So, I mean, I've had a lot of, you know, things that go, you know, bump in the night, and, you know, finding the most interesting was I connected with this former African-American slave who had entrapped his slave owner in the basement and his family on the second floor. And I had to like sort all of this out, and then wrote about it and figured out, okay, how am I going to like help resolve this and do a cleansing of this house? And it was an amazing experience that I wrote about, and I put it on my website, kevinpaulpsychicmedium.com, which was a beautiful way, you know, to kind of cleanse the house. It's like, let's talk about forgiveness, you know, and so on and so forth. So you don't go in with the, you know, the cross or a fire hose and say, you know, there's a more elegant way of doing cleansings or going in. If you're going to go in, I always say, I go in, how can I help you? Rather than, you know, oh God, what is it going to be? Let's see, who else do we have here? Jenna Burke says, do you do readings? Yes, we both do readings.
Yes, we do. And mine is at intuitiveview.net, everybody. Intuitiveview.net. You click on the blue book now bar. That's how you do it.
Right up there. I have it linked in there, Lydia. I love your house and your house stories.
Aw.
Lydia Kemling. Stacy's like, oh my God. Laura's like, amazing. Let's see here. How do we get the earlier comments, folks? I can't figure out how.
I don't know, but we
go
did pretty
back.
good about filling our hour.
We
Woohoo!
did. We did. All right. Well, folks, we're still trying to figure out the new Facebook Live, and but we were happy to spend. I'm happy to spend some time with Lisa. Thank you so much for being a part of this program.
You are welcome, Kevin. I'm excited because I know you're going to have me back on because I told you.
I knew it. I knew it. I'm psychic. I knew these
You
things.
knew these things. I got to tell you, Kevin is just a wonderful person. So, you can pretty well feel safe if you decide to hook up and grab a reading from Kevin. Okay. So to any of my peeps, don't worry. There is no mine or yours. Please get a reading with Kevin. Experience that. So I'm not going to say that you're cheating on me. It's okay.
And likewise, Lisa, I love her. I love Lisa's energy, folks. I definitely highly recommend a reading from Lisa. Please check out her website. There's a link up in the comments section in this Facebook Live that you can go directly to her and check out what she's doing and book a reading with her. I think she has some wonderful energy and tools that she can use to help you navigate your life's journey, your adventure in life. And I'm really thrilled that you were able to spend some time with me.
Thanks, Kev. I had fun.
Me too. So good night, everyone.
Good night,
Wherever
everyone.
you may be around the world, check out the comments on both pages if you want to, check out and respond to Lisa. And I'll do on if they're asking particular questions. That's since we couldn't get to them and we can't quite see. We've got 115 comments on my page here. We've reached over 800 people and maybe 100 people have engaged. So all good, and people will be able to watch this, if they've missed this live.
Yes.
All right,
Bye,
folks.
everyone. Have a great night.
Take care, everyone. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Kev.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.